Hey bakers, John Cannell from Preppy Kitchen here, and today we're gonna be making a baked Alaska. We'll actually be making a few. I've got a few decoration tips to show you. This is a recipe you're gonna love. It's a ton of ice cream, meringue, a little cake on the bottom, and a lot of love. Let's get started. First off, we're gonna pack our domes with ice cream. I just so happen to have these 5-inch hemispherical cake making domes. Never use them for cake, only use them for baked Alaska. They're perfect. But if you don't have them, you can use these bowls. Any bowl will work because even if it's not a perfect hemisphere, it's gonna be covered with meringue and no one is gonna know the difference. All right, before you pack it with ice cream though, you need to cover this with plastic. Otherwise, it's gonna be impossible, well, very difficult to take out of the mold. So just cover it with plastic and press down. And now we can start packing. I have some strawberry ice cream here, one of my favorites. You can use all the same flavor, or you could use as many layers as you'd like a crazy Neapolitan ice cream dome. It's a good idea to let your ice cream sit out for a few minutes too, so it's not rock hard. That'll make forming it into a dome much easier. Once your dome is partially filled, it's time to press down. So just wrap the plastic around carefully and press. I'm not gonna fill this up all the way. That's a full pint of ice cream and you don't need to eat that much ice cream in one serving. So a little bit under, the rim of the bowl is totally fine. When we pop this out, that's a lot of ice cream. It'll look really pretty. So back in here, this needs to go into the freezer for a while. You want it rock hard when it comes out of the freezer. Otherwise, the meringue you pipe will start slipping down. And I've learned this the hard way. So please follow my advice. Into the freezer, and we're gonna make a couple more of these. All right, so if you want, for the base of this assembly, because the ice cream can't go on a cake dish, it'll melt right away. It needs an insulator, and that insulator will be cake. Pound cake is a great option for this, and you can either make your own. I made a little bit of a mini sheet cake situation here with my favorite vanilla cake recipe. You can click up here for that. It is so fast and easy, you will love it. But if you don't have the time, you can just go and buy some delicious pound cake. I got this from the market and it actually smells like it's homemade, even though it's from Brooklyn. Who'd know? This is not the right size though, so I need a 5-inch round. That's why making your own sheet cake is super fast and easy. This we can make work too. If you're using the pound cake, you wanna cut a few slices that are maybe like 1/2 inch. Don't worry if they're a little bit off, it's okay. Now you're gonna place them side by side and start checking things out. Doesn't look perfect, but what we can do is cheat it. So just arrange your pieces and then cut them out. There we go. This will be delicious for snacking. That's actually like a good one. And here, I have my nice circle that the ice cream can rest on, and no one's gonna see the inside, so don't worry about it. Setting that aside. This is cooled clearly, and I'm just gonna flip it over carefully and then peel off my parchment paper. That is actually like a good thickness. I thought I might have to trim it down, but you can just cut a few circles out. Look at that, perfect. Cut your circles out and we're gonna be ready to go to the next step. With all this extra cake, you can make cake pops if you want. Just an idea. Put it in the freezer, save it for later, and when you're ready, crumble it up with some buttercream and you have cake pops to go. I'm gonna build this out on a little sheet of parchment paper on top of a small plate. Just wanna have this assembled and frozen so that I can get ready to decorating ASAP. Okay, this is hard as a rock, just the way I wanted it. And we're gonna pop it out carefully. There we go. Remove that from the plastic, place it onto your circle of cake, do an adjustment, and look, that is nice. Cover it again in plastic, and this is gonna hang out in the freezer until the meringue is all ready. In you go. Today I'm making this recipe with an easy French meringue. There's one step I wanna show you that makes all the difference, but if you wanna make Italian meringue, click up here for my how to make Italian meringue video. Just stop before you add the butter in because then it becomes buttercream. Otherwise, it's the same. My bowl looks clean, but I'm not 100,000% sure. I know that's mathematically impossible. But I'm just gonna wipe it down with a little bit of white vinegar just to make sure there's no fat hanging around here. When you make a meringue, it's really nice to make sure everything is clean. Clean with no fat, because any fat really inhibits that egg white from fluffing up the way you want it to. I'm using 4 egg whites and about 1/3 of a cup of sugar. I'm gonna live dangerously and separate the eggs over the bowl. These yolks can be saved for later, and they are perfect for making pastry cream. You can click up here for that. It is just so dreamy, so custardy, and wonderful in tarts and eclairs. And by the way, clean hands are really the easiest and I think safest way to separate egg yolks. Less chance of them breaking. It would be hilarious if an egg yolk broke in my hands. 4 egg yolks to save for later. You can whip them up with like a little bit of sugar, like a teaspoon or so, and then just put them in a bag so there's no air coming into contact with them. That's the best way to save them for later. I will be washing my hands. So full of albumin. Clean whisk attachment goes on. We're gonna froth these up. So start low, let the eggs kind of come apart, work your way up. We can add in 1/4 teaspoon of cream of tartar to help stabilize it. This is an acid that comes from winemaking. I learned that in Napa. A pinch of salt won't hurt either. We can increase the speed now. My egg whites are frothy, so I'm gonna start drizzling in sugar really slow. This makes a big difference. Don't dump it in all at once. Just drizzle in a bit, like you have all the time in the world. Let it incorporate, drizzle in some more. If you're really impatient and this is torture, just dump it in. It'll still turn into meringue, it just won't be the same. Look at that, it's already beautiful. Almost done. Let's take a look and see what it looks like now. I want to see the state of these peaks. Look at this. Look how beautiful. Do you see how glossy that is? The glossiness came from us going super slow. Otherwise, the texture is just not the same. And look, that is a perfect, beautiful meringue. Tastes good too. However, I might like a splash of vanilla just to, like, you know, liven things up. I'm living on the edge. A little splash. All right, that's all done. Setting you aside, getting some other stuff out. I made this in kindergarten. Still have it. All right, set that up on there. Transferring my meringue to a large piping bag fitted with an 846 tip. It's a closed star. And we want to get this meringue in here quickly. There's no dilly-dallying because it will lose consistency, as I said earlier, and it's crushing when that happens. Crushing. So, like, look at that. Do you see how pretty that is? Ugh. I love meringue. So now we're gonna transfer our frozen assembly over here. I'm putting this on a cake stand, but you could have this on anything you like, and you don't need a turntable, but it is so handy, especially for you, so I'm not left hooking it all over the place. You'll notice this is like matte on the top. It's not shiny because it's not running, it's frozen. I can't stress that enough. Okay, for this one, I'm just gonna pipe little stars all over the place, and there we go. And actually, because my base is a little bit smaller, I'm gonna pipe 1 row just to fill things up. There we go, little cheat. So in a traditional baked Alaska, you're gonna be popping this into the oven, or you can actually flambe it as well. I like to toast mine with the kitchen torch. I just think that's the easiest and most foolproof. And I worry about broiling things because I am notorious for like just losing track of time, letting things burn. It's so frustrating. Let me know in the comments if you're one of those people too, and things have just gone awry because you stepped away for one moment and you lost track of time. And I made a version of this for Instagram, which I might cut to because I still notice I'm doing it all this way. What about you? You need to see things too. There we go. I think that looks nice. There are some spaces where you can see the ice cream coming through. That is not a big deal because we're gonna torch it now. Let's give it a torch. I love the contrast you get from this. Some people prefer the way things look when you broil them because you get a more even brown, but I like having the white and the dark brown. I think that looks pretty. If you want to make a cool cable knit pattern, you're going to use that same star tip and pipe some C's, and then do an overlapping C, 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 and you're going to have what looks like a really pretty cable knit pattern. Another really easy but beautiful effect is just to use a pedal tip. I used a 125, and start from the top and then spin and just move down, and you'll have this wonderful spiral that looks like a beautiful flower or just something amazing. Give it a nice toast when it's done, and that's ready to serve. This one might actually be my favorite, and I will tell you it's much easier than the cable knit one, which I had to try a few times because there were some mess ups. That's so good. Who could say no to toasted meringue and ice cream? All right, thanks so much for watching. If you like this video, hit that like button and subscribe, but check out my how to make vanilla cake recipe. This is a fast and delicious, just amazing recipe, one of my all-time favorites. And if you don't want to turn the oven off, but want to drink a ton of brandy with your chocolate, make my make my brandy truffle recipe. They're really delicious. And you know, the brandy helps too. Mwah.